Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to the Nobody's Happy podcast. It is I, Raul Sanchez, back from the road. I was out of town from Thursday through Sunday, 4 shows, 4 nights. I just got back yesterday, Monday, Labor Day. I was in the Rio Grande Valley. I was doing a string of shows down there. I took my buddy Dallas Van, the hilarious Dallas Van. We were out there for 4 days, fucking driving, doing shows, driving some more, and fucking drinking, bro. That's the thing when you take somebody on the road with you to open for you. It's got to be like somebody that you can get along with, right? And I knew I was gonna get along with Dallas because he's a really funny guy. He's a local comic from San Antonio, man. But the thing about Dallas is that he is just like me, a heavy drinker, boy. Like usually when I'm out with somebody on the road, I'm like, all right, I'm going to have to take it easy because, we can't be out all night or we can't be drinking all night. The lights got to go off. We got to go to sleep. But with old Dallas, boy, dude, every time I would crack a beer open, he was already cracking one open too. So it was kind of like one of those things where you're both a bad influence on each other. I can see why drug addicts hang out with other drug addicts. Cause you don't want somebody to be the responsible one and be like, hey, you think we should just kind of call it a night? It's like 5:30. And basically with us, it was like we were just gonna do our show, and then as soon as the show was over, we'd hang out. I'd have a couple of more drinks. You'd have a couple of more drinks, and then we'd go back to the hotel and just fucking drink. We'd smoke and just talk shit, dude. I'm kind of like disappointed that I didn't think ahead enough to do a podcast with him, to just bring all this shit and then bring all the shit out and just do a podcast there. But I don't know. It's probably better that we didn't record it because it was good times, man. We were just staying up, talking shit, talking about comedy. Conspiracy theories, which is like right up my alley, dude. UFOs, all that shit, man. We went to what was the first place we went? We went to South Padre Island, right? It was like this little resort area. This dude came out, and I guess he goes to see all the shows, but he's like a salsa, like he makes salsas. He gave us all like different types of salsas depending on what kind of burn you like, and then he was selling them afterwards too. So everybody was just like having a pretty good time because we're in a resort, right? And all the people that are coming out there they're vacationing still. It's hot as fuck out here. It's like 104 degrees out in Texas, and we had some cool people. They were still vacationing even though it was like late August and shit. Had a fucking awesome show. That place was nice, man. South Padre. I forgot the name of the resort. I think it was like Isla Grande or something like that. And they have it every Thursday. So that was the first show, right? And then after that, we went to where the fuck was it? McAllen, Texas. Did another bar show there. That was a pretty standard bar show, though. That one was less like a comedy club. The South Padre Island one, that one felt more like a comedy club because it was like low ceilings. The people were like right in front of you, so you're doing a joke. All the little subtleties and nuances, people get it right there because they're just standing in front of you, and the laughter doesn't dissipate because it's a small room. And you hit a joke well, and the laughter bounces off the walls, and you have some breathing room, as opposed to places like the next night, McAllen on Friday. That was a little more of a bar show, and I'm not a stranger to bar shows. I've been doing bar shows from the fucking beginning, dude. And but I also don't like, they're not ideal, you know. You kind of have to move through the material a lot faster because eventually people get drunk. We didn't even start. We started that show late, like 30 minutes late. I kind of understood that Valley Comics. I love them. They're hilarious, but they're notorious for starting shows like 30 to 45 minutes late, right? And I already had it. Like I said, I've been doing this for 13 years. The Valley was where I, first started going out on the road, like all those places like Corpus and Westlaco, and McAllen. So I kind of figured, this is gonna be, it's a bar show, all right. It's like it's prison rules as far as comedy is concerned. Don't bring this fucking. I'm gonna say something clever, and then people are gonna clap and laugh. This is like I just stood up in front of a bar and said, guys, I got something hilarious to say, and everybody would just be like, all right, let's fucking hear this shit. That show went good too. The only thing is, like I said, just speeding through your jokes because, people are getting drunk. There's maybe some people in the back in the bar that are they're not turned around. They're just like, I just came here to drink and no amount of jokes is going to make me turn around. But the other folks were there for the comedy and they had a blast. They, fucking Dallas killed it. Dallas is at his best when there's chaos, right? When there's a crowd that's not all paying attention, a bar show, if you will. Like, he shines, man, because he'll just go off on, like, improvised shit off the top of his head. He'll be like, hey, what's your deal? Blah, 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 I can't do that. I'm like a comedy club. That's where I thrive, at a comedy club where, every word is accounted for. And Dallas is just like a force of energy. And he did really good. And then I went up there. I did my 40 minutes. I did good, too. But I could tell they were tired because we started like, 30, 35 minutes late. Some of them get there 30 minutes early anyway. And these two girls, I could tell they were fucking tossed up, dude. The two girls, two fucking ladies, man. These are old bitches. They were like sitting sort of towards the middle, and you could see them slowly like losing their fight with alcohol. Losing their fight with staying sober enough to pay attention. So I did very well. It's just, when you compare it to like a place the night before where, I blew the roof off that place because it was enclosed. It was more of a comedy club feel. This was definitely McAllen on Friday was definitely more of a bar feel. So we got done with that. And Dallas is fucking trash. Oh, yeah, because that's the thing, though. We drove to McAllen, right, from South Padre Island, and we get there, and Dallas is, like, going on about, like, disc golf. Apparently that's a thing with, like, where people can make money and a living out of disc golf. And he's a big fan. He was looking for courses in McAllen, and as soon as we got there, we checked into the room, and he had his, like, this almost like those briefcases that you drag with the wheels on it, but it's a case of discs, frisbees. I don't know why they call it frisbee golf. I'm trying to get all fancy, disc golf, right? And he's like, I'm gonna go disc golfing, and we had bought some beers the night before, right? But I only bought like a 6-pack, and he had bought a 12-pack, and he had some seltzers. And he took the seltzers with him, and then he goes out for like 3.5 hours. He comes back like the show's about to be in an hour, and he goes, "Hey man, you want to drink?" I didn't drink any of them when I was out there, and I was like, "Really?" He goes, "I'm just fucking around. I'm fucked up." This is before the show. And then, and he goes, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I had a couple of beers out there. And we had just drank in South Padre the night before. We stayed up drinking. And he went at it at the disc golf course. Come back. We get ready for the show. We we have a couple of drinks at the hotel, and then we go to the show. By the time the show was by the time the show ended, right? Because he went on before me to after the host and the guest spots, and then I'm doing 45 to an hour. So he's got to just sit there, and what else is he gonna do except drink? Dude, he was fucking wasted by the end of that. I was a little tipsy too, because I wasn't fully recovered from the night before. But I wasn't as bad. He was like, "All right, are we leaving or what?" I was like, "Yeah." Did you close out? He goes, "I don't know." I go, "Just check that you have your card on you." And he's got one of those sissy satchels that dudes wear now, those man purses. And he just he moves it around, and then he opens it up. He goes, "Yep, I got everything." I was like, "Let's fucking go, dude." We go back to the place, and I have a couple of more drinks. I think he passed out. I mean, so did I. It just took me like an hour longer. And then the next day, we're just pounding Gatorade and water, because now we got to drive to Laredo, right? Good old fucking Laredo. We go up there, and this is the third night, Saturday. We got put into a really fucking nice room, dude. We got put into a really nice hotel, really nice room, right on the border. Like, Tom Brady could have stood on the roof and just chucked one into Mexico and hit a fucking kid selling chicles. That's how close we were to the border. The hotel was right at the border, like not even a block from the river. And yeah, we checked in there. That one we kind of took it easy, recovered a little more. And then about an hour before the show, I just hear Dallas crack one open. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to go downstairs and get a michelada, because this fucking dork is drinking seltzers. And I'm like, seltzers, dude, they're too sweet, man. I can't do that shit. I was like, I'm going to go downstairs and get a michelada. So anyway, 2 micheladas later, I'm like, all right, time to go to the show. We go down, we walk to the show. It was only like 3 blocks away, downtown Laredo, right? And, a little bit of a fear, between me and Dallas. I think we're like 225 pounds together. Now we're both like skinny dudes, right? And I'm like walking through this downtown Laredo. It's all dark. I was like, dude, we get kidnapped. They're going to make me a drug meal. They're probably going to prostitute Dallas. It's going to be terrible. But we get to the venue. The venue was like way closer than I thought. We take a turn, and I can already see it. So we get there, and then I realize that it's an outdoor place. And I'm like, fuck. And as soon as I get there, I'm like, hey, dude, we're just walking up right now. And the guy goes, cool. Hey, man, it's a little light, but I think we're going to have a good show. And you never want to hear that. You're like, fuck, dude. I get there, and there's like 10, 15 people. But it was a small place. It was almost like there was a food truck, a house that got converted into, just a big kitchen area where they fix stuff, or make stuff, I should say, food. And it ended up being a pretty fucking nice show. Those are the weird ones, man. The weird shows where there's only like 15, 25 people, but they're all huddled in, and they're like, dude, fucking make us laugh, dude. We're here to laugh. Those are like a welcome surprise, because I can't tell you how disheartening it is as a comic to go like, I got this joke I want to work on, this joke I want to work on. And then you get there and you're like, it's outdoors. Okay, so I can't be as subtle And then you're like, oh, and on top of that, there's less people than expected. Now I can't be subtle, and I can't, I got to speak up, and I can't go into sing-songy rhythm of stand-up because it just doesn't work. You almost have to talk to them, and instead of doing your joke, you have to tell them the joke in a sense of like, you don't perform it. You just tell it to them. You tell them the joke, because if you try to perform it and do the same, mannerisms and the same fluctuation in your voice, there's something naked about it that both you and the audience can feel, right? So you can't like really get into bits as easily. You kind of have to say something in the relatable in the moment for them to even open themselves up to receive this as a funny thing, rather than you just doing your little presentation. But again, that one was cool too. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't as ideal because it was outdoors, and there was only a couple of people there. But they were cool, so we got through that, and I was like, all right, that's it, dude. We go upstairs. We get blazed. That's the thing. People were really cool, man. Like the managers or owners or like the guys opening. The guy put it together, Mario Salazar. He gave us a joint here, a joint there. Like, people were like really cool like that. This guy gave us a joint. And we went upstairs, had a couple of more drinks, smoked some weed. And then we were trying to watch that movie Arrival, which looked really fucking interesting, dude. I was like, I can't believe I'm gonna stay up and watch this movie because it's so fucking good. Dude, within like 15 minutes, I was like, I woke up like at 4. Dallas is passed out on the couch, on the long couch, and I'm just like, I wake up sitting on the other couch, and I'm like, oh fuck. I'm like, dude, hey. And he was fucking snoring, dude. He was like. And I was like, all right, well, he'll wake up eventually. So I just went to the room and passed the fuck out. We wake up in the morning, right? And we're at this point we're feeling it, right? Because it's like 3 nights in a row where we've been, 3 days in a row we've been driving for long hours and then drinking, staying up, afterwards. So now we're feeling it. And I was like, fuck, we got one more, dude. Brownsville. We drive like 3.5 hours to Brownsville, and then we check in there. It's not bad, and you could tell we're just kind of like, all right, we're just gonna settle here and just chill out. And then we were like, I'm kind of hungry, right? And Dad was like, let's fucking go get something to eat, dude. I'm trying to eat something good. And I was like, well, let's go, man. Let's go get something. We go to this Texas Roadhouse because he's like, it's the last one. I want to treat myself. And I was like, all right. Because before that, we've just been eating fucking McMuffins and just bacon, egg, sausage sandwiches from gas stations, from Whataburger, from just breakfast sandwiches from everywhere. And fast food, basically. Dude, you eat like shit on the road. That's one thing I've done the road where you do a couple of days, a few days in a row, but I had forgotten that after like the 3rd day, you're like, Jesus Christ, man, is there anything that's just not bread and fucking eggs? So yeah, that was a nice change to go to Texas Roadhouse, have some steak and potatoes. But we're there, and we're like, well, fuck it, man. Let's get some fucking drinks. We get I get 2 micheladas. He gets 2 whatever the fuck he was drinking. And they're like, all right, show starts in about 45 minutes to an hour. Let's go to the hotel. Shit, shower, and shave. We got ready, and then we get to the venue, and I look at the venue, and I'm like, holy shit. Last show is not going to be that bad. Although there were some concerns at the beginning because as soon as I walked in, I realized the place is fucking enormous. It's enormous. It's like a warehouse. But it's like if they had put a Buffalo Wild Wings inside a warehouse and filled it all up with tables, put a big stage, TVs all around, right? Big giant ones with projectors and the little TVs too. So you could tell like they specialize in like bar food, like wings and burgers and shit like that. And there's a ton of people there. I'm looking around. I'm like, dude, this must be like 150 people here. And this, the only thing is it had high ceilings. And one of the things about high ceilings in a venue, it's laughter dissipates quicker. Like you don't hear it bounce off the wall. It might sound like technical shit that, you know, like when somebody tells, like when I first found out that people tune drums, I was like, what the, why the fuck is that guy before the show starts going doom, doom, doom? Apparently you can tune a fucking drum. I didn't even know that till like 7-10 years ago. But there's also like subtleties in stand-up too, where there's like, the higher the ceilings are, the less conducive is to comedy, because the laughter dissipates real quick and people laugh and there's no energy in the room. A lot of people don't know this, but by the way, this is the international sign for energy in the room. And the energy goes away and you kind of almost have to start all over every joke, as opposed to when they're laughing and you're already starting to begin the next joke while they're still giggling a little bit, and that creates like a nice little flow that oftentimes seems to help you climb as far as the energy and the laughter. And this one, it, like I said, it was built like a warehouse, so the ceiling was super high, and I was like, that's not good, but at least there's a ton of people here. We get there, right? And again, it's the Valley. I find Mario in the back, the comic that put everything together, and he goes, "Yeah, man, we're ready, bro. I mean, not ready." He said, "We're all here. We're just we're getting ready. We're probably gonna start a little late." And in my head, I'm like, "Of course you are. You're a comic from the Valley. This is a bar in the Valley. We're definitely starting fucking late." Anyway, 30 minutes go by, right? And now I'm thinking, all right, we're 30 minutes late. There's some people that have probably been here for 30 minutes, which means they've been drinking, right? And that's how I always think of that in the math terms of drinking, because I know about a thing or two about drinking. And I'm thinking, that's not good, right? But hopefully we get started soon. Dude, we didn't get started until an hour after we were supposed to. The show was supposed to start at 7. We started around 8. 7:55 if I'm being generous. So it's a whole hour late. That means at this point, before the show has even started, the crowd has been there. Some of them have been there for over an hour. Some of them for an hour and a half probably. Right? So they've just been drinking, hanging out. And then we start the show. Mario is like, "Hey, by the way, I'm not hosting this show. I'm going to be featuring. I'm going to be middling." Because he had been hosting all the shows up until then. And he goes, Dallas, and he makes Dallas open. He goes, "You want to feature for 20 minutes at the beginning?" And we're like, "Well, you mean host? You want me to host?" And he's like, "Yeah, just do 20 minutes at the beginning." So he has Dallas open up the show, right? And Dallas does all right. You can tell they're a little tight. But it's an issue of, like they said, the ceilings, and towards the back. When I went to go smoke a cigarette and I came back in, Dallas had just started, and I could tell that towards the back you couldn't hear that well. It was a little muffled. And because it was you couldn't hear that well, the people in the back, I mean, what else are they going to do? They just start talking to each other. And I think some of them also came not for the show. Some of them came just to have some wings and have some beers, and they were just in the back talking and hanging out. So you could even when I walked back to the side of the stage, you could hear people, you could hear and see people laughing, but at the same time, you could also hear the not murmuring, the bubbling of chatter in the back. And it was not, like I said, ideal. And then Mario goes up, right? And right before he went up, he had told me, yeah, this buddy of mine, he did some shows for Jingle Bling, and he's a camera guy, and he wanted me, he asked me if I wanted him to record my set, and I said yeah. So we got some really cool setup. So I'm like, oh, okay. So he's been looking forward to recording his set. That's why he's going in the middle and not hosting. I'm like, all right, because I'm gonna do 30 minutes, and he goes up, right, and then eventually, 30 minutes go by. He's doing all right, because again, the people in the front, they're feeling it, and you could see them laughing, but sometimes you can't hear them because there's a constant chatter in the back of the room. And he does 30 minutes, and I'm like, all right, should be getting off pretty soon. Then 35 minutes go by, and I'm like, oh fuck. I look at Dallas, and he goes, are we supposed to light him? Because he said something about, like, we're each going to introduce each other, we're not going to have a host. He goes, so you introduce me and I introduce Raul. So we figured if it's going down like that, he's probably going to keep account of his own time. 35 minutes go by, and I'm like, all right, dude, go light him, because I don't think he's keeping track of time. Dallas lights him at 35, right? He's already 5 minutes over, and he lights him, and then that's when Mario goes, all right, I should probably start wrapping up. And he goes up to this table where he's got a bunch of shirts. And he proceeds to, he's got 3 or 4 different types of shirts, right? Articles of clothing, if you will. And he grabs each one and then proceeds to do a joke about each one, right? So this one says, blah, blah, blah. And everybody laughs because they're funny shirts, right? And then he got like a thing that you do with the joke. Like, comedians do that all the time. And I'm thinking, like, there's no way he doesn't know that he's already over, right? And he's going basically into his grand finale dismount. Dude, when I tell you that he ended up doing about 45 to 50 minutes as a feature, which means the middle guy, right? That's a headlining set. The headlining set is 40 minutes to an hour, right? So he ended up doing, for sure, a headlining set in front of me, right? And then I'm looking like, dude, it's about to be like 50 minutes that he's over. Not 50 minutes over. He's doing 50 minutes when he was supposed to do a 30-minute set. And I'm telling Dallas, dude, I think I'm only going to do 15 or 20 minutes. Light me at 20. And then I'll see if I even will keep going, or I'll just wrap up and be like, hey, guys, that's my time. This show's gone on long enough. And then finally, eventually, he gets around to it. Because I know he did like a couple of jokes. Then he did his shirt jokes. And then he did one last joke after the shirt jokes. So he added like another 15 minutes after the 35. So at this point, he's at 50 minutes, right? At least 50 minutes. No less than 45, right? Which is a legit headlining set. So I stopped counting at 40. And he still kept going. So I turned off my timer at 40. And he still was on. So there's a pretty good chance he went over 50. But conservatively, he did about 45. So now I got to go up there and be the headliner, right? Even though somebody just did a headlining set in front of me. So he brings me up, and I go up there. And Dallas told me this at the end after the set. I ended up doing like 45 minutes maybe, even though I told Dallas I was only going to do like around 20. But what I ended up realizing was, oh yeah, you can tell they're kind of laughing. And they always felt like they were on the cusp of like cracking them, right? Where they weren't going to stop laughing. and the whole room was going to get on board, which is the goal, right? When you're at a bar show, the whole goal is to see if you can get the whole room on board, because there's always going to be somebody talking, somebody not paying attention. And that's what I was kind of trying to go for. I was like, if I can just crack, I think one time I got everybody on board for like 3 to 5 minutes. And then everybody went back to normal, which is the front paying attention, laughing, having a good time, and the back just every once in a while being like, oh, that guy's still up there. And I had a pretty decent, I had a good set. Only decent because I couldn't hear that well, but it was a good set because I could see them laughing. The people in the front, I could see them folding over and like, you know, covering their mouth when I would say something fucking crazy. So I stayed up there for, you know, for a little bit longer. And then when I got off stage, right, I felt a relief. I was like, all right, good. That could have been really bad considering Mario did almost a fucking hour in front of me. The headliner, the supposed headliner, and afterwards, I was like, okay, that could have gone so much worse. And it was actually semi-enjoyable. It was actually not that bad. It was kind of fun to pull some of the people that weren't paying attention because of something I would say. And all of a sudden, they'd be like, what the fuck? And they start laughing. But by then, dude, we're like 2 hours into the fucking show, right? Even though I'm supposed to go in 30 to 45 minutes into the start of the show. That's when the headliner's supposed to go on, right? I'm going on like at an hour and 40 minutes after the show was supposed to start, right? And that's not how long it's been going. That's how long the show would have been going on if we had started on time. So needless to say, it was difficult, but it was kind of like fun. It was a fun challenge, and I felt like I did fairly well considering it felt like a setup. I felt like I was Joe Pesci, and I walked in, and all of a sudden I just see plastic all over the fucking floor. I'm like, oh no! And Mario's just behind me. I get up, and then Dallas tells me, dude, you know what this motherfucker said? He got off stage, and he went, ooh, I went a little over, right? No, he said that after. The first thing he said when he got off stage, he went up to Dallas, and Mario goes, they're a little tight, aren't they? A little tight? You motherfucker, you did like 15, 20 minutes more than you were supposed to. A little tight. And that's when he went, ooh, I think I went a little over, right? Like 13 minutes. But he said like 13 minutes, like it was just 2 minutes. Like, ooh, I went like over like 2 minutes, you know. But he said like 13, you know, like, which is fucking crazy. You can get fired at a comedy club for going 13 minutes over as the feature, let alone 20. But that's the thing. I always expect shit like that to happen when I go down to the valley and do these bar shows. Because one of the things that happens, and I can't even hate. Like I like Mario. Number one, he'll put a show together, which I'm not going to. So that's good, and you get paid what you were supposed to. That's the one thing. It's like if you're gonna, you know, bring extra comics on the show, you know, or go over your time, that's one thing. But if you don't pay people what you're supposed to, and that's one thing about Mario, he's always, at least with me, he's always paid me what he said he was going to pay me, which is why I've never, you know, I was like, I don't give a fuck. Go do an hour and a half, dude. I'll go there, tell 2 jokes, and get the fuck off stage and demand my money from you. So yeah, these gigs, they're like, these bar gigs, they're kind of like, it's an X-ray of your jokes, right? Because in a comedy club, it's very easy to to rely on the fact that it's a nice comedy club, and a little box room that is designed for the laughter to stay inside, and people are paying attention because they paid good money to be at this comedy club. The drinks are fucking expensive, so I better pay attention to this shit. And then the comic delivers, and they're like, it was totally worth it, right? But here's the thing. Wait, what the fuck was I saying that for? I was getting somewhere with that. God damn it. Anyway, I don't mind all that shit. Oh, yeah. It's an X-ray of your set because you get to see the jokes on the inside of the jokes. Because some jokes have subtleties that only work in a comedy club where an audience is actively watching and listening carefully because they paid a lot of money to be there, right? And in a bar show, right, even if they paid $5-10 to get in, they still feel like it's a bar, like it's my right to just sit here and have drinks and talk to my friend, or if the show is free to the audience, they just feel like I don't even have to be here. I could be at home watching TV. So and you can't really blame them, right? Like, especially if they don't know there's going to be a comedy night, which I think these shows, they were all designed like people knew there was a comedy show. But anyway, here you go. I fucking lost my train of thought again. Something about what? Isn't that crazy how you can just lose your train of thought like that? And I was doing so well, and we're only like 20 minutes into, or what, 35 minutes into this? 40 minutes? Yeah, I mean, I've been long-winded about this anyway, right? So maybe that's a good moment to pause all that. What do you call what I'm doing? This commentary, rewind. Yeah, which is what I was getting at, I guess, was that I do those gigs because, if you string them along like we did, 4 shows, 4 nights, you ended up with a decent chunk of change. All right, and on top of that, you get to see jokes that you haven't tried at bars, and you see which jokes are actually legit strong, where you can tell them whether it's with a captive audience or with a bunch of drunk people that are just there because they don't have anything else to do. If you can crack them, and I made a bunch of mental notes on some jokes where I'm like, this joke is weak right here, this joke is weak right there. This one I've just been selling it well, but it's not well written, because if I don't sell it, the words themselves are not funny. It's the way I'm saying them. So you do get like a good feedback of where you're at. Now, I wouldn't change my set drastically based on the response I got in bar shows. That's not a good idea either. Right? You can pick up some bad habits of just either going for the lowest common denominator people to make laugh, or the low-hanging fruit. That's funny. Some guy made a joke about Mario. Mario's a big guy. Some guy made something about his weight, and he just goes, "Damn, hey bro, why don't you pick that up? That's low-hanging fruit." You just dropped that low-hanging fruit you just got. But now, all in all, man, we finished the shows. We went back to the hotel. We had a couple of more drinks. Right, I could tell Dallas was getting tired. I cracked another one open, and Dallas was like, "God damn it, why are you trying to drink me under the table?" I was like, "I'm not, dude. Go to bed. Jesus fucking Christ." He's like, "No, bullshit." And he cracked one open, and he chugged it just to let me know that I couldn't drink him under the table. And I was like, "Well, I'm just drinking this last one, and then I'm going to bed, just so you know." We got up. I set an alarm. I ignored it. Then we wake up, and Dallas is like, "Fuck, dude, we gotta go, man. I have my fantasy draft today at 3." And we're like, 4.5 hours away from San Antonio. So we're like, fuck it, let's do it. Grab our shit, start packing, pounding Gatorades, and water. Made it back. Got back, saw my girl, my dog, my mom who was here helping my girl out. Yeah, it was a fun night, man. Fun night. Fun nights. It was great. What a fun time, man. It was fun just getting to work, make a little bit of extra money here, and also finding out where my shit is at, where my set stands. There's a lot of work to be done. And I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited about making this whole new material sound really fucking good. And it's coming along. I just need more time and more practice. So I'm gonna be doing a lot more shows, even if they're little bar gigs here and there, because I got to work on stuff. I got to make the material stronger, so that when I do go to a comedy club, where I do have a set in a nice place that's ideal for comedy, for stand up, that I can just pump them out, and just kill, man. I know I was able to do it in South Padre Island. That was fun as fuck, man. I hadn't been out of town in a technically bar show, although that felt more like a comedy club, man, even though it was just the bar area. But that one was super fun, and I fucking destroyed on that one. That being said, I guess that's pretty much it. That's all I did for this past weekend. That's why I didn't put out a podcast last week, because I was getting ready for this shit. Yeah, other than that, thank you guys for listening. I'll keep you updated on what the fuck is going on, and when I'm putting out new stuff either at the end of the year, no later than January. I mean, it's gonna be a short set. Like, it's like 20 minutes. Half of it is old stuff I've done before, and half of it is new stuff that nobody has heard me do, or at least published on social media or YouTube. Other than that, thank you guys so much for tuning in.